There's a place in the South Pacific where your only two options in life are the army or football. That place made Penei Sewell, a kid who slept with 8 family members inside a one-bedroom shack with nothing but dreams and each other. And somehow that kid became the hardest man to move in the entire NFL. Let me show you how. At 17, he walked into college football, younger than everyone around him. And he didn't just compete, he became the best tackle in the country almost overnight. A few years later, he signed a $112 million contract, one of the biggest ever for his position. But here's the thing nobody expects. His dominance didn't come from size, speed, or natural talent. It came from something deeper, something that happened to him long before football ever mattered. And until you hear that part of the story, nothing else about Penei Sewell makes sense. So let's go back to the beginning. Now, to understand Penei Sewell, you have to go back to where it all started. There's a tiny island in the South Pacific called American Samoa. And on that island, there was a small pink shack, 1 bedroom, 8 people living inside. No coaches, no gyms, no money, just family and the ocean. But here's the thing about that island. It produces more NFL players per person than anywhere in America, because life there makes you tough whether you like it or not. Penei started playing football on the beach with his older brothers. No pads, just raw tackling. He didn't even like the sport at first, but the island doesn't let you quit. Now, life in that shack was hard, but it was stable. Until Penei's father started getting serious chest pains, and the medical care he needed didn't exist on that island. So the family faced an impossible choice: stay home or leave everything behind. And before they left, his father gave him something he'd carry forever. The Sewell family made their choice. They left Samoa for good. Penei was just 11. They moved to St. George, Utah, a completely different world. And he's admitted he didn't want to move at all. But before they left, his father did something powerful. He gave Penei a watch, and inside that watch was a photo of their old pink shack. The message was simple: never forget where you started. And to this day, Penei looks at that photo all the time, not out of sadness, but as fuel. Now here's the reality. Moving to America was hard. New schools, new culture. Everything felt foreign. But Penei never lost who he was. He carried Samoa with him everywhere he went. The family had made it to America, but the real test was just beginning. At Desert Hills High School, Penei was already a starter at just 14 years old. By 15, the biggest programs in America came calling. Alabama, USC, Oregon. Everyone wanted him. Everything was going perfectly. But then something happened that shook the entire family. His older brother Nafai broke his neck playing football. That one injury burned a lesson into Penei's mind. Not every down is guaranteed. From that day forward, he never wasted a single snap. But here's what's amazing. Despite all that pain, the Sewell brothers came back and won a state championship together. And by the time Penei left high school, every college in the country was fighting over him. But what he did when he got to Oregon, nobody saw that coming. In 2018, Penei Sewell walked into the University of Oregon. He won the starting job from day one and played Oregon's first 7 games as a true freshman. Pro Football Focus graded him as the top freshman offensive lineman in the entire country, with an 84.0 grade. But then the season tried to humble him. A high ankle sprain knocked him out for 6 games. But when he came back in 2019, what he did next made everything before look small. When Penei came back healthy in 2019, he didn't just return to form. He came back like he wanted to break the position. He won the Outland Trophy, given to the best lineman in college football. He became the youngest player to ever win it, and the first from Oregon. But here's the stat that really tells you everything. In 1,376 snaps at Oregon, he allowed just 1 sack. That's not good protection. That's making pass rushers invisible. Oregon rode his dominance to a Pac-12 title and a Rose Bowl win over Wisconsin. But then 2020 brought chaos. The schedule got shortened. Everything felt uncertain, and Penei had to make the most grown-up decision of his life. Then 2020 changed everything. The pandemic hit. Schedules got shortened, seasons felt uncertain, and nobody knew what was coming next. And Penei made a decision that shocked a lot of people. He opted out of his junior season at Oregon. Now, it wasn't because he didn't love the program. He did. He even wanted to play alongside his younger brother Noah, who had just joined the Ducks. But that lesson was already burned into him. Not every down is guaranteed. So at 20 years old, he walked away from college and bet everything on the NFL draft. And here's what made that move so bold. A full year without live football. No games, no snaps, no proving anything to anyone. Just training in silence while the whole world watched. But Panay didn't care about the noise. He was ready. And now there was only one question left. Which NFL team would be brave enough to build their future around a kid from a pink shack? On draft night 2021, the Detroit Lions made their pick. With the 7th overall selection, they chose Penei Sewell, making him the youngest first-round pick in Lions history. GM Brad Holmes said he'd been watching Penei since 2019, but here's what nobody planned for. Detroit wanted him to learn right tackle behind veteran Taylor Decker. Then week 1 arrived, and Decker went down with an injury. Suddenly, the 20-year-old rookie had to play left tackle in his very first NFL game. And his opponent? Nick Bosa, one of the most dangerous pass rushers alive. Week 7, 2021, Lions versus Rams. And standing right across from Penei was Aaron Donald. On one play, Penei didn't just block him. He drove Donald back a full yard and kept pushing through the whistle. And Donald lost it. He grabbed Penei's face mask and took a swing. And by 2022, he was about to prove that he wasn't just tough. He was becoming one of the best players in all of football. By 2022, nobody was calling Penei a promising young tackle anymore. He was flat out one of the best offensive linemen in the entire NFL. But 2023 is where it got scary. PFF graded him at 92.8 overall, the highest among all NFL tackles. His run blocking grade was 95.1, the second highest they'd recorded since 2008. Detroit went 12-5, made the playoffs, and reached the NFC Championship for the first time in decades. Now Detroit had no choice. When a 23-year-old is dominating like that, you don't hope he stays. You pay him like the future. After 2023, Detroit did exactly what everyone expected. 4 years, $112 million, roughly $85 million guaranteed. That deal made Penei one of the highest paid linemen in NFL history, locked in through 2029. First team All-Pro in 2024, and again in 2025. That's 3 straight years as the best at his position in the entire league. So here's the truth about Penei Sewell. He didn't become dominant because of talent alone. He became dominant because of where he came from, and he's only 25 years old. From a pink shack in Samoa to the most dominant lineman in football. That's Penei Sewell's story, and it's far from over. If this story hit you, subscribe and turn on notifications for more. Now tell me in the comments, which NFL player's story should I cover next?